That's a good question, because I think everybody would think in any conversation he's coming in looking for a debate, because he was a master debater, as we all know, looking for someone to challenge him. This was a very different forum. Number one, he came in high in life that morning. He was extremely excited to be there. We talked in the green room for about 30 minutes prior to going out, and we talked about his recent trip to Korea that he just got back from that weekend. He was in Korea, and he was with Mikey McCoy, his chief of staff, John McGovern, and then some security detail, and one of his social media guys as well. But they were all just talking about how fun their Korea trip was. And then we talked about sports, and we talked about traveling with family. And it was just this wholesome, enjoyable conversation. It wasn't a conversation where we're thinking like, what are we going to do? And how are we going to handle this? And what if we have hecklers in the audience? It wasn't anything. It was just very light and uplifting. The room started to empty out because we were ready to walk up to the stage. And Amanda, he turned to me and he just said, Andrew, how can I help today? I just want to help. And I said, Charlie, like we talked about before, we are going up there to talk to a room full of entrepreneurs and CEOs. Let's just go tell them your story and my story, and let's inspire them so that they understand that what they're doing is worth it, because it's hard to be an entrepreneur. And we learn from each other. Let's just go and inspire them. And he goes, oh my gosh, this is my favorite topic. I can't wait. We gave each other like a bro hug, or whatever. And then we walked upstairs together. So the feeling going into this was, let's just go have an entrepreneurial discussion and let's tell them about our journey. We got up to the top of we went up to the stage. We were in the back of the stage, and we were talking about, fear of speaking. He didn't have any fear of speaking. I don't have any fear of speaking. And we both laughed that, maybe we're weird. He's like, no, I think everybody else is weird, that they're afraid of speaking. And we both laughed, but it was just very like the feeling there was just, it was so simple. It was like I had known him for years. It was so easy to talk to. And he was real with everyone, everybody that was helping backstage. He would introduce himself. He took some pictures with people. He was so kind. And then we walked out on the stage. I had questions prepared. I ad-libbed on several others because the conversation just went so easy. And then after the conversation, we walked off stage, and he looked at me and he said, how did I do? And I'm like, how did you do? Charlie, you did amazing. What are you talking about? You talk all the time. He goes, well, I just wanted to do good. And I'm like, amazing. And so that was his frame of mind. I mean, if you think about that, it's like he was giving up his time. He cared about how people would have perceived the information. He wanted to help with the information he gave. We said, let's go out there and let's not talk about politics. Let's make this apolitical. And he goes, no politics. I don't want to take a side. Let's just go out and talk about our entrepreneurial journey. And he agreed, and he was excited about that. When Brian, so his name's Brian Simowitz, he was in the audience. And so when Charlie was murdered, he didn't know. I had him come back to the stage, to backstage with me, and I told him that I said, Charlie was shot. It was an awful moment for all of us because he reacted the same way that any of us would. One of our team leads, our president, Tyler, said, let me get you down to the hospital. Took him, jumped in the car, and they drove down to the hospital. He got there, was able to be screened and then let in as a family member. He was the only family member here in Utah. Nobody else was here, despite some of the snippets out there that family was here or Eric was here. Nobody else was here. And we were texting with him in real time, hearing how things were going. And they were trying to resuscitate and get him back. And he did have a pulse, that was in the hospital, but just too much damage, so they couldn't get him back. But we not only spoke to Brian and Kelly, his wife, that's Charlie's cousin, but also parents through this whole process, and was also invited by the family and was with them at the memorial right there, sitting with them in the front row. So I've been very close to them to see how this went down. I was just a recent friend of their family. It wasn't something that's a long-term friendship or something that I had been involved with anything he was doing. So after I knew that we had it, I didn't see it for another couple of days because we are editing it, and I was very busy fielding inbound inquiries to get it. And I finally was able to sit down and watch our conversation. And because I was in it, just like you and I are talking here, Amanda, you can't remember really what people would perceive on our conversation because we're in it right now. So I was in that interview, and I can't really remember how I felt about it. But yeah, with the events of him being assassinated, and then you're watching this, you're like, how amazing is that the last couple of statements that he made, and I didn't know if I was going to ask it or not, but it just came to me, like, ask him about his favorite quote he lives by. And it just came to me. I'm like, what's a favorite quote you live by? And for those to be, this too shall pass, I think he was telling the world, listen, great times come and they also go. And when bad times are here too, they will also pass. And this right now is a really tough time for all of us to figure it out. You know, there's a lot of people that are angry and there's people that are happy and whatever. At the end of the day, this time will pass and then the next season will come. And I just thought, what an incredible statement to have. And then of course he wears his religion on his sleeve. And so, you know, him quoting Romans 8:28, I thought was extremely interesting in that I also I go to church. I believe in Jesus Christ too. And I was sitting in church that Sunday, Amanda, and in the manual that we have that's printed a year ago, like that we use for Sunday school as adults, the first scripture in that said, let's reference for this topic we're talking about was Romans 8:28. And I'm like, of the tens of thousands of verses in scriptures, in that Sunday, it hit me like a pound of bricks that I don't know why this is happening to me or why we talk about that, but it was Romans 8:28 that we all were supposed to read in class. And I'm like, how is that? So what are the odds of that? And so for me, I don't know why it happened. I don't know why he picked those, but I got to be honest, him leaving this world on those two quotes, we should listen to those and think about what that means to us individually. And I just think that one of the things he said in the interview too that I think was pretty special, because we can all learn from it too, is enjoy every day, because the journey is what this is about. It's not about how much money we both have or the accolades or the fame or the glory. Enjoy the day. And when he said that too, and knowing that he had been assassinated, he was really enjoying that day. He just was. So I just think we should all do that too. Let's not beat ourselves up too much. Let's enjoy what we're doing, good or bad, and learn from it, but enjoy the day. You know, that was part of his business, right? These events at the college campuses were part of his business. It was not the only business he was involved in. He had a for-profit. He did real estate investments. He did investments in funds. I mean, he invested in a lot of stuff and had his fingers into a lot. But I remember him taking his phone out and he said, look at the campus, and his team that had set up for him was sending him pictures of the crowds. And so he was showing me the crowds. And I was like, wow. And he goes, yeah, it's really filling in. And I'm like, what do you expect there today as far as people? And he goes, anywhere from 300 to 3,400. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. And he goes, yeah, it's just grown and grown. I said, have you ever done one here in Utah before? And he goes, yeah, I did one years back at Utah Valley University. I said, how did it go? And he goes, well, the audience wasn't that big. And it was fairly hostile for me. And I just said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that people felt that way about you here. And he said, well, you know, everywhere I go, I have people that are hostile, but, you know, it doesn't hold me back. I want to go talk to them. And so he said, you know, this one, I'm hoping that there will be people there there would be more people there that are my friends. And I just said, I think that you'll probably have more people there that support you just because there's a bigger audience. So he seemed to push it off. He was excited that his team had it set up and that it was filling in. And then we went out on stage. So yeah, he did talk about it. He showed me pictures of the event. He was excited about going down and meeting people at UVU. And when he left, he was excited.